Hello, everyone. I'm Vineeta Sawkar with WCCO Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. Joining me is Joe Hiti. He's one of our digital writers. We're talking about the Wild and Blues. This is going to be a really fun series. Thrilled that the Minnesota Wild have home ice advantage. That's going to be a key. Joe, I think one of the main questions is who's going to be in goal tonight. I'm thinking it's Cam Talbot. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you got to go with the hot hand here. I know that Fleury's been, I think it's 9-2-0 in his 11 games with us, which is fantastic. But Talbot's been really solid in crease. I mean, he's played big minutes over the last month, where the Wild have only lost 4 games, 2 of which were in overtime, one of which was to the Blues. Funny enough, we always seem to go extra periods with them. So I'm guessing an overtime game tonight. But I think Talbot, he's the strongest goaltender that we have, just being acclimated with the team. You know, he knows how to play in XL. He's always been good in XL in the 2 seasons we've had him, 1 season without fans, 1 season with. So I think you have to go with Talbot here. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the change and went to Fleury in game 2, just to, start them both off, see who's going to respond where. And they've been such a good tandem team with both their goaltenders. I really don't think that it wouldn't be a big shock to me if they went just alternating between the 2 of them.
And they should, because these guys are going to be really working hard. This is going to be not a very easy series. We have not beaten the St. Louis Blues. Of course, we don't even want to talk about the Winter Classic. That was just weird. That was not a good game. I had fun. It was cold, but it wasn't a very good game. This series is going to be really, really interesting to see how the lines match up. When you look at how key Kevin Fiala has been for this team in the home stretch here leading up to the playoffs, he's going to be a crucial part. He has to have a good game. And of course, Kaprizov as well. But each of the lines has had their strengths. And I think it's going to be exciting to see how they match up with the Blues. Playoffs are totally different. It's a different animal. So you can say we haven't beaten the Blues all season, but playoffs are totally different. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I've seen a lot on Twitter of people getting upset about forecasting and saying the Wild are favorites in this series when they didn't beat them in the regular season. I watched the Wild beat the Blackhawks every regular season game for what seemed like 5 seasons, and then get absolutely bounced in the playoffs, not even put up a fight. So I really think that when you look at the regular season and you look at playoff hockey, they're just 2 different types of games. I think the Wild are built for a tougher, in-your-face brand of hockey. I mean, for years, it seemed like they were trying to be an East Coast team in the West Coast. And now I feel like this is the first time that they play tough hockey with guys that know how to pass, know how to shoot. They show up in big moments. I mean, I've watched so many games this season where they've been down 2 goals going into the third, or a goal or 2. And I don't care. I know that they're going to come back, or I know that they're at least going to put up a fight and keep going until the horn sounds. So I don't think it's fair to look at it and say, oh, they didn't beat them in the regular season, because it's so often you see teams match up in the playoffs and it's completely different. It's a different atmosphere. I mean, the home ice really does make a difference in hockey, not as much as it does, I feel, in baseball or football or basketball. But I just think it's going to be completely different tonight.
Well, and you talk about overtime, which, by the way, I think Faceoff is going to be at 8:45 tonight. This is going to kill me. I got to come back and do a morning show the next day, but I'm going to be there at the X because I wouldn't miss it. But if it goes to overtime, and I would never leave a game early, I'll just tell you that right now. But if it goes to overtime, I feel very confident because, as you know, the Wild have an excellent record in overtime. They do really, really well. So if it gets pushed to that, I think when executive producer of the morning show, Jimmy Erickson, thinks it's going to be low scoring, I think it's going to be high scoring. I do. I think it'll be a 5-4 game. We will win. Do you have any predictions on a score?
I don't want to say any predictions on the score, because I've always thought that the Wild, they build themselves on being 4 to 5 goal teams, where I feel like they could score any second that they're on the ice, no matter the line combination you have out there, whether it's Matt Boldy and Kevin Fiala, or the grief line, as they like to call themselves, or even Kaprizov and Hartman. I feel like they're dangerous weapons, but it just depends on who gets going. And I think the big thing that the Wild struggle with is having all of their 3 main lines going throughout the entire game. So if every line is going right from the puck drop, I think it could be a 5 goal game. But if we only have one line going, it could be a 2-1, it could be a 3-2. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game. I think it's going to be a tough, on the edge of your seat, biting your nails down the entire game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout for either side. I think we'll see 1 goal to 2 goal games for the entire series.
There's a question. Is there a difference between East Coast and West Coast hockey? Is that like rap beef from the 90s?
I think West Coast you have most of the original 6 teams are on the East Coast. They play a little bit faster, a little fancier with their pucks. For years, it kind of seemed like East Coast teams had, European players, which that was always the stigma back in the day, was European players didn't know how to play tough hockey. I think the West Coast, they just play a little bit tougher. I mean, I think most hockey analysts or even coaches would agree that when you go on the East Coast for your trips, you're planning to play a different brand of hockey, or you're not going to be, looking to hit as hard. You want to be a little bit faster on the puck.
Flyers fans may disagree with you.
Flyers fans disagree. Yeah, I think the Flyers.
Broad Street Bullies are known for their tough hockey.
I think that might be the one outlier. Yeah,
a little bit.
Maybe the Bruins too back in the day.
Yeah, the Bruins
were playing through some bloody noses, but yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, we'll see what happens. I know St. Paul will be rocking tonight. I'm excited for the game. Just want a good series, and I want to see this team move on. We don't want a one and done playoff series. Would be nice to see them playing hockey for the next 2 months. And I'm telling you, I'm not sure which Minnesota team is going to do it, but we want a parade this year, and I'm hoping it's the Wild. It's not the Wolves now, but I'm hoping it's the Wild. Twins are looking good, but they've done so much this year, and they've looked so good. And if you look at the records too, they've broken so many records, team records of achievements as well. And how about Foligno being back in the lineup? The guy is tough after that cheap hit on Friday. Just really exciting, to have him back, and let's see them go toe to toe with the Blues. And I think they can take game 1.
So, thinking about outliers, everybody's going to the series. They know that Fiala's hot. They know that Kaprizov can get hot whenever he wants. Personally, I think that the key player tonight is going to be either Eriksson Ek or Matt Boldy. I think if either of them can show up like they've shown they can at any point in the season, I think that the Blues are not going to, all the focus is going to be on our 2 main stars. If we can get one of those guys to get going and, have them start off with a hot goal, or even, a nice pass like Matt Boldy likes to do with Mr. Fiala, I think that'll be a shining moment. But, who do you think that the Blues aren't going to be focusing on, or who do you think they might be undervaluing on our team?
Well, you make some really good points. Yeah. I mean, and who do you target on our team? Because we have such strong lines, you can almost interchange them in some cases. Obviously, Kaprizov is in a category on his own, but the Boldy Fiala line, I mean, there's so much depth there, no matter what some of those network announcers might say. We do have depth, and it'll be fun to see how it matches up. Joe, good to talk to you. We'll see what happens tonight and through this series, but let's hope for a long run for the Minnesota Wild.
Let's do it.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us.